everyone, I'm Mickey.
And I'm Gordon.
And we're hiking RV. And we're just going to do a casual conversation this time about our 2 years with our Roadtrek Zion Campervan.
Generally, I think we've been very happy with it, with a few sort of challenges that we'll talk about.
First of all, a little bit of background. We live in Metro Vancouver area of beautiful British Columbia, Canada, and we are avid hikers. And the reason why we got this van is because we wanted to get to beautiful scenic places and go for great hikes.
We bought a Class B camper van. We wanted one that was fully finished. The Roadtrek Zion met sort of all our key criteria, and we bought it about 2 years ago. We've done a number of previous reviews of the van, so if you want some more details about the specifics of the van, we did one at 6 weeks and we did one at 1 year. So I'd recommend you just go, and we'll put a post to those videos as well. Before we start the review, though, we're actually back in one of our favorite getaway spots, which is Porto Cove, which is about 45 minutes north of where we live. I had flu, and then we both had colds that have run at least a couple of weeks, so we weren't able to get out, but then it was raining and miserable.
And then it snowed.
We had 1 week of winter, which is about usually all we'll get here on the West Coast. And so we're literally desperate to get out, so we pulled in last night, and amazingly, we actually got a little bit of blue sky as we were coming in. It stayed clear out until I think about midnight, so we had a fire, we cooked outdoors. It was just really nice, and it was mild. It was about 10 degrees, and so fairly warm for winter. This morning we got up, we did a little walk to along the beach and just past some of the other campgrounds, and looked at the ocean, the trees. It was just gorgeous. So it was just so nice to get out once again. The campground's not that busy. I'd say only about half the campsites are full, and we've got one, we're right on the ocean. I mean, the water is actually probably about 8 meters or less behind us when the tide's in, so it's been kind of a nice little weekend. And as a matter of fact, we think this is where we filmed our first 6-week review. So we did a 6-week and then I think a 1 year.
Detailed review of the van.
Yeah, we filmed it, actually, in fairness, we did film most of it in our storage lot. And then the last part we drove out here and spent a night and filmed, I think, in this exact same spot, but we're not sure. So we looked at a number of Class B RVs. Actually, we looked at some small trailers. We looked at, I think the first RV we looked at was a Class C. What really appealed to us in the Class B was just its small size, and so its mobility. So we could move it, drive to different places that we thought maybe it would be more difficult with a trailer or with a larger RV. The other thing for us, we looked at a number of Class Bs. What really drew us to the Roadtrek Zion was actually the 6-year warranty that was in place at the time and the technology that was in place at the time. So with our package we ended up getting an underhood generator and the lithium batteries and the Volt Start.
Which is a system that automatically starts the engine to charge up our batteries if the batteries start going low.
Two of the reasons that we chose the Roadtrek Zion have actually been probably our biggest challenges. So as you're aware, Roadtrek went through receivership and there are new owners, and so the 6-year warranty effectively disappeared, and there was a temporary warranty with I think a $1,500 cap that was introduced by the new owners, which was nice of them to do so. But the 6-year warranty was one of the reasons that we wanted a Roadtrek Zion. And the technology, when it works, is wonderful, but of all the challenges we've had with the van, it's actually usually been around the technology. So we replaced one of the lithium batteries once. That was under warranty. We've had to replace our underhood generator once. That wasn't under warranty, although most of the costs were reimbursed by the new Roadtrek owners. And we continually have little tweaks and issues with our lithium batteries. Typically one works really well, and one sometimes works, well, it works 95% of the time, but it's just finicky. And so we're always, sort of adjusting it, and we haven't had any issues with volt start, but to be candid, we rarely use it. With the lithium batteries and the energy sources we have, we rarely ever run our batteries down lower than 50%. It would be, I don't know how many days it would take us, but we're usually driving, which charges the battery, so it's never been an issue. So we've never had to use volt start.
Yeah, and I think after you've gotten used to having an RV, you realize that it's important to conserve energy and make it last as long as possible.
We've never even come close to being low on water, and we're always very conscious of both the amount of resources we use, water, power, and also, we're always, because whatever we use too, in terms of the water side, we're going to have to get rid of. So it's just, sooner we'll have to go to the dumping station. So overall, we've been very happy with our van. It's on the Dodge ProMaster, and I drive it most of the time. Mickey does drive it occasionally. I love driving the van, and it's just very easy to park. So we've been really pleased with the ProMaster.
Yeah, I think the only maybe one thing we noticed is that if you're on a highway on a slope going uphill and you're following a slow car or truck, and you slow down, then it's really hard to
speed up
so again.
We've got some significant mountain passes in some of the trips that we go to, and we never have an issue crossing them. The only issue would be, as Mickey said, if somebody's in front of us and slows us down, then we're probably not going to have the power to accelerate, or we could, but it would put a lot of pressure on the engine. So, but it's worked very well. And the only other thing we did have one electronic module go with the van. And it was fixed.
It was the ABS module.
ABS module, yeah. And it was connected to a whole bunch of other things. When they sorted it out, it was actually an easy fix, and it was covered under warranty. And other than that, we've had no issues. And it would be hard for me to want to choose a Class B van that wasn't on a ProMaster, because we enjoy it so much.
And it takes regular gasoline versus diesel.
Yeah.
Moving on to the coach features, everything's just worked great. The propane stove, sink, the refrigerator, our furnace works perfectly fine.
It's a little loud, and you'll see that in one of our other videos, but it's very efficient. And yeah, the refrigerator's a nice size. I think it's 5 cubic feet, and it works well for us.
It's a very good size. We really like our refrigerator, and also the location of it. It's set higher up.
Yeah, we really like a fridge so that we don't have to
squat to get things. Well, I think a lot of other YouTubers and RVers say that they don't really like to use the microwave, but we actually end up using the microwave quite a bit. And with the lithium batteries, we do have the ability to heat up coffee or some leftover food in the microwave and still have enough battery power. So that's actually come in quite handy for us a lot of time. And also when we're plugged in to shore power, then we can use our microwave, and it makes things simple, especially when we're winterized like we are now. We don't really want to do any fancy cooking, so microwave is handy. And in terms of storage, this van has great storage, very adequate. We don't really need any more. Of course, because we have a Class B van, we try not to bring a lot of things, but when we do everything that we need to bring, even for a 2 or 3 week adventure, we can fit everything in pretty easily. And if you organize it better, then you can fit in more stuff. So in terms of storage, we really like it. The television and the DVD player, very rarely used.
we could remove those.
Yeah.
Where I probably disagree slightly with Mickey. It would be nice when we bring one of our boats, there's room enough. It's just everything becomes a little tight. But as Mickey said, the thing is not to bring everything that you own with you. And if you do that, there's lots of room in the van, for 2 of us anyway. One
of the things that was a bit of a fail, and we're a little bit disappointed with, and there aren't too many of those, but these curtains, they are just not well made. And I think eventually we're going to have to come up with solutions. They just have little plastic attachments, and they just come right off.
Yeah,
So,
they break off
yeah.
frequently. I mean, I think the first time we used it, we broke 2 or something.
Yeah.
And it's an easy fix. If you look at a lot of other YouTubers with Class Bs, they just simply build some small curtains and it's fine. But
Yeah, or we might put some roll-up shades, maybe, you know, attach it with either Velcro or magnets, and I think that would be fine. Even maybe thin-sulet inserts would work as well. One of the other things that we could improve, and I think a lot of van manufacturers and RV manufacturers are already doing this, but changing the table into a lagoon table. So a lagoon table, I'm sure many of you have heard, is very movable, and you can actually move it out of the way. You can adjust the table to whatever area you want. And ours right now is just on a fixed post, yeah. And so we very rarely use this table.
as far as the fit and finish in the van, the only thing that we were probably concerned about with the curtains, which are pretty minor, everything else has worked well. We haven't had any issues with shelving. Everything stays closed as long as we remember to close it. The odd time we forget and suddenly our pantry slides out or something as we're driving down the road, but we have a checklist we go through and everything works well. Our most common criticism of the van, and you've heard this if you've looked at any of our other videos, is it's drafty, it's cool. So it doesn't retain heat well. I mean, in a sense, you're just camping in a big tin box. And you can certainly stay warm in it. Your furnace will work well, although it's, as I said, can be loud. Or if you're plugged in, you can simply hook up a small electric heater, which we use often, and that does a great job. But it's just cool. So when we stop, even cold weather or in winter now, we put a blanket behind us. We seal off the cab and the side door with curtains to keep any drafts out. We have a number of little steps that we take to keep it warmer. I just wish they'd put more insulation in it, and if you look at some of the newer vans coming out from some of the other manufacturers, I think it's Panoramic RV, their Class B supposedly has more insulation in it. Some of the Winnebagos have additional insulation in them, as I understand it now. And so it's just one thing that I wish was in the Roadtrek Zion, and it's not end of the world. You can stay warm enough in the van, but your heat's coming on a lot. So it'd just be nicer if there was more insulation.
This is definitely not a four-season camper van, although we have used it four-season, but it doesn't have all the things necessary to make it a four-season. Our water lines are exposed, our tanks are exposed, there's no tank heaters. Yeah. And we do have to winterize, make sure we have antifreeze in the system in order for things to not freeze. And of course we're part-timers, so we do leave our van in storage for long periods of time.
Yeah, and to that end, I mean, no RV is going to be a four-season RV if it's in storage, because things are going to freeze, so you're going to need to winterize. Mm-hmm. But if you're using it all the time, in many you could probably get away with it, especially in, I guess, what we characterize as mild winter. But we've had a couple of times where we've been camping and it's in late September and we've been in the mountains and the temperature's dropped below freezing, and we've been just a little worried, about what was going to happen with our gray tank or our water lines. And, I think it's fine if it's -4 and it's just for the evening and it warms up during the day, but we still get a little uncomfortable. So we winterize usually by the middle of October, and we'll de-winterize around, I guess, Easter, sometime around there. And so we do use our van 4 seasons, it's just that we don't have access to water. That's the primary thing. We could still use our toilet if we wish. The bathroom's usable, but then you're just flushing with RV antifreeze. The challenge in using your black tank is actually probably trying to find some place where you can empty it, because a lot of the facilities that normally, the dump stations that would be available, say in parks and things, are just not open in the winter. Mm-hmm. So typically we don't, in the winter, once we're winterized, we rarely use our washroom, only if we have to. And we use facilities like here at Porto Cove. They have very nice pit toilets, and they have flush toilets as well, but generally they're not open in the campsite right now. So
one of the things that we really like about the Roadtrek Zion is that we don't have to deal with the stinky slinky. We actually have a macerator system, and the hose is quite small. It's actually very easy, and we're in and out a lot faster than most people because it doesn't involve having to rinse out the hose or anything like that.
It literally takes us a few minutes. We take out the hose, put it in the opening for the sewage line, and press the macerator, and typically it takes probably about 15 seconds to dump the black tank, 15 seconds to then do the gray tank, and I think the longest time is just simply trying to push the hose back into the small space.
Yeah, and we've sort of got used to that.
Yeah, and it's
well,
not that difficult. It just
quickly.
takes you, you know, a little bit longer. So it's very quick, very easy, and the macerator system has worked very well for us.
Yeah, that's worked really well. In terms of the shower, we very rarely use the shower in here. It does use up a lot of our gray tank when we use the shower inside.
We typically try and use facilities, so if we're in a BC parks, many of them have showers, we do that. Or sometimes, you know, we just don't need to have a shower every day. We have used it probably a half a dozen times, and I've showered outside a few times. So it's nice to have. We've talked about if we had another van, having a shower inside wouldn't be critical for us. We still would like the ability to shower, and so an outside shower would be more than, would probably be fine.
We do have 270 watts of solar. Where we live, it's not a huge thing. I guess if we were staying for long periods in the desert, for example, you probably rely on solar a lot more.
It's almost like a trickle charge, if you think of it, to our house batteries. Now, having said that, we have had a couple of times when in the middle of summer, and we've been, say, in the interior British Columbia where it's going to be sunny, we've seen a big increase in our batteries from the solar, but typically we're a little too far north for it to be that effective.
In conclusion, just some overall thoughts about the van.
The best feature is just owning a Class B van.
Yeah.
We get out so much, it's so easy. You know, we can do one-night trips very easily. Yesterday when we pulled into the campground we're in right now, I literally, Mickey was paying for the site, I literally just drove past, backed in, parked, and we were done. That was it. It was, you know, not even 2 minutes to set up. We were level enough. And so that's been really good. I think what we've really enjoyed about the van is just it makes us get out more often.
Yeah.
And when we do a hike and we get to come back, it is nice to be able to reach into the fridge for a cold drink, or, you know, on the odd time that we want to, we will definitely have a shower in our van, and it's just a nice feature. But I think basically, you know, it can be a rainy Saturday and you can decide to just go for a drive and camp for the night, and we do that often. So that's worked out really well.
Yeah, we're not huge planners, so we do kind of like to wing it.
Someone asked me just yesterday where we were going, and I said, I know, it's either going to be left or right. And that meant when we leave the storage lot, are we going to drive right or left? And that kind of dictates the location. So.
And I think one of the things that I might change, if we could go back in time when we first purchased the van, we actually did like the natural wood color, but I think it does tend to be a little dark in here. And if we had at least the cabinets maybe a white color, it might have been a little bit brighter. We do feel a lot of the time like we're in a cave, but on the other hand, you know, when it's hot outside, it is nice for us to be kind of in a cave and keep things cool. But, you know, sometimes in the wintertime, we want it to be a little bit brighter.
Yeah, it would be nice, as Mickey said, I think it's more in the wintertime we notice it. So if we'd had a lighter wood, or maybe the upholstery behind us, you can see as, actually there's a blanket behind us.
Dark and gray. And,
yeah, so it would be nice, I think, to have a little bit lighter wood, or possibly some lighter upholstery. It's not a big thing, but that's one change that we'd probably make if we get any other RV.
How about you? Is there anything that you would have?
No, I really enjoyed, you know, if I had any choices, I'd like a little bit more ground clearance. The van is fine, we haven't had any issues, but sometimes we're on some bumpy roads and I'm just being a little cautious. If we were looking again for another van, we would probably look for a fixed eating area up front. So we find we rarely ever use the table, and that's in part because we spend most of our time outside, which you really want to do in a Class B, because a Class B van is not something you want to stay inside too long for, because it's just a little too small. We looked at one van, I think it was a Safari condo, and one of the things that we liked about that was it had an electric bed. And so the bed could go up, and when it was up, you couldn't walk underneath it, but you could get underneath it with a fair amount of headroom. And so you'd have all that storage and could organize things that way, which I think would be a little easier than behind the sofa as we have it. And then you could lower the bed electronically to have it at the height that you wanted, so it could be, you know, much lower, or it could be a little higher if you wanted to keep some higher items underneath the bed. That would be one feature that I would like. So I guess if I had to sum it up, an electric bed at the back would be a really nice option. A fixed eating area near the front, just something small with a table that maybe folded up or out, just a little easier. and a little more insulation. That would be pretty well my, and a little bit more ground clearance.
That's about it for our conversation on our Roadtrek Zion after 2 years of owning the van.
Yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. Please give us a thumbs up if you did, and don't hesitate to comment. We really enjoy your comments, your thoughts about either Roadtrek Zions or other Class B vans, or other RVs. We really enjoy the comments that we get, and we try and respond to all of them.
And if you haven't subscribed to our channel already, please do so, because we're going to have lots of fun adventures coming up this year. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.